So it was Pakistan versus England, second T20 that was played at Old Trafford, and Pakistan made 195 in their 20 overs. And I'm pretty sure in the first half, they thought that they've got control over the game, the way they played, the way they batted. Fakhar Zaman gave them a good start in the beginning, really set the tone for Pakistan. Babar Azam scored yet another 50. And then, Mohammad Hafiz, he played a great knock. A lot of criticism was coming forward by why he is still playing. He's 38 now, and so is Shoaib Malik. A lot of criticism on the senior players, but Mohammad Hafiz stood up today and he timed the ball particularly well. But in the end, even 195 was not enough for Pakistan. England won. Morgan played a brilliant knock and basically sort of saw his team through. I've got Monty Panesar here with me. Monty, this is a game again that Pakistan should have won. During the first half of the game, one can say that this was completely in control of Pakistan, this match. However, they lost it, and apart from the fact that Morgan played a great knock, it was down to some poor bowling, wasn't it, Monty?
Yeah, thank you for having me on your show again, Zainab. And I fully agree with you. I think, the older veterans like Mohammad Hafiz, showed again, there's no substitute for experience. And, I think at the moment, Pakistan need, the experience in the team. But also it was the bowling, the bowling, they didn't bowl in a very, very sort of, they didn't bowl, I think they just bowled without much plan. They kind of thought that, well, our strength is bowling in T20, we'll bowl, England out. And they felt that, the average score is 153 at Old Trafford, and it was a record chase by England. So, to chase down, 196, that you kind of think Pakistan had it in the bag, but they just didn't bowl very well today.
In terms of their bowling, looking at how they started, of course, they started off poorly, didn't really get the ball in the right areas. But what, according to you, was missing? Was it the line? Was it the length? Was it the variation? Where did they go wrong?
I think where they went wrong was they didn't really execute the slower ball very well. On a pitch where square of the wicket, the pitches are quite long, they should have actually bowled some slower ball bumpers, possibly had fine leg up, and backed themselves that the ball isn't going to go, past the keeper or the fine leg. Get them to really play the pull shot when there's no pace in the pitch, no pace on the ball. Now, these fast bowlers, I don't think they're confident enough to execute these types of skills. And the opposite coach, Azam Mahmood, who we all know is the great, Pakistani T20 legend of the game, what he would have done was exactly that. Bowled slower ball bumpers. He was the best at it.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that's, again, we talked about the Test cricket where they lacked options. Here as well, it's that inexperience in the bowling department. And I think, why is Wahab Riaz, why
Wahab,
is he?
Wahab Riaz, yeah.
Why is Wahab Riaz? Why is he not playing? Because I think this Pakistani team, at the moment, they're still developing into, a strong side, and I think they still need, experienced players to guide the youngsters.
But I mean, Wahab is there. Amir it seemed like he was having some fitness issues, almost, pulled his hamstring, or it seemed like he was struggling. He looks a bit rough, hasn't really bowled, in the last 6-7 months. And then you've got somebody like Shaheen Shah, who seems to have, he seemed like he looked a bit tired, actually, considering that he was playing test matches as well. So Pakistan has got its share of options, even in the squad. But do you think they missed the trick with the players that they've got? Because you did have Shadab Khan, who got 2 wickets he was on a hat trick, and he kind of, at that particular point, it seemed like, he's changed the momentum of the game. But that was not meant to be.
Yeah, he did, and I think he's definitely a player that Pakistan should invest in T20 and in one-day cricket, because he's energetic in the field, he can bat as well, and with the bowling, he's always going to pose a threat. And it's they're the sort of players that they really need to think that, right, in the field we need these youngsters to give us energy, to raise the standard of the field. And then if they are unsure, they've got the experience of Shoaib Malik, Mohammad Hafiz there. Go and utilize them. I didn't see one of the fast bowlers going up to Mohammad Hafiz. Why didn't they just talk to him and say, look, what do you think I should do? I'm a little bit unsure. And they were a little bit unsure. So it's no harm in actually, speaking to some of the senior players. Like Mohammad Hafiz has got 2,000 T20 runs. He's only the third batsman to do that. International T20 runs. So he's like, one of the best T20 batsmen in world cricket. And I just don't believe that people utilize his experience enough.
And in terms of their fast bowling, so coming back to Amir and Shaheen again, where do you think they missed the trick? What could they have done differently on this track?
Well, I think, look, if you're going to have two left-armers playing together, you need to bowl one around the wicket, one over the wicket. Because if they're targeting Mohammad Amir, then they should think, right, Yasin Afridi should, Shaheen Afridi should look to bowl around the wicket. Because these English batsmen, international batsmen, they're very they're very sort of, how do I say it? They know how to mess a person's line and length up. So with the left arm spinner who opened the bowling,
Imad Wasim.
Yeah, Imad Wasim, when he opened that bowling, you saw Johnny Bairstow going towards the off stump, getting inside of it, and then sweeping him behind square. And then you saw Tom Banton, who went outside of leg stump and swept him, same balls towards mid wicket. So then that's how, international batsmen, if they're the same type of bowlers, they know how to mess the lengths and the lines up. So this is where I think Babar Azam should need to think and write, well, if one of my bowlers are getting lined up and I've got two bowlers of the same type, then let's get one bowling round the wicket, one bowling over, so they can't line my bowlers up, and it may even just get a wicket. But if you've got two the same, and they both are going to go the distance then.
Right.
And that's what happened.
Right. In terms of Pakistan making 195, do you think that, that was enough in the end in terms of defending the total? Or because we're looking at, modern day cricket where 10 runs and over is something which is considered very much a par score in T20 cricket. So do you think Pakistan had enough in terms of the runs?
I think Pakistan had more than enough in terms of the runs, because like we said, the par score was 153 at Old Trafford pitch, and this was a record-breaking score of 190 odd, and Pakistan should have comfortably won this game. They should have defended this target. And if they were, during the time, if they're a little bit unsure, they need to, especially the youngsters, I would think that they're just unsure. They don't know what to do. There's Shoaib Malik on the field. There's Mohammad Hafiz. These are very experienced players. You can go and consult them as well, and that's what they look to do. These young players must speak to some of the senior players, and if they're unsure, you can get off the pitch, have a 5-minute break, have a couple of minute break, speak to Misbah. You're not sure, speak to Misbah. You're not sure what my game plans are, and that can happen in T20 cricket. When the batsmen start lining you up. But I just didn't see any of that. I didn't see them taking a break or go and speak to one of the players, or even just go and speak to the coaching members. then it's players are accountable for this. You know, they make the decisions when they're on the field, and if they're not going to consult their own senior players or coaches, it comes down to the players. And to be honest, it was the bowlers. You know, it was the fast bowlers who I think let the team down today, and they need to be confident in using slower balls, which I just don't think they used enough. They used a full toss, which in fact, when the England team bowled full tosses, that was going the distance. So this is the kind of stuff, you know, the Pakistani seam bowlers, they need to learn as well. They need to think, right, depending on each
So
game and
you're
each pitch.
saying that this was the kind of pitch where they should have utilized their slower balls in a better manner, because you did see them, but perhaps maybe the execution was not there.
Yeah, the execution wasn't there. Like, I never saw one slower ball bumper and having fine leg up and being confident enough that the English batsman can't hit this ball in front of square for 6, because there's no pace on the pitch, no pace on the ball. I just don't think they're confident enough to bowl the slower balls. They think they'll get hit out of the ground, so they'll rather bowl fast balls and fast Yorkers and slower balls which are full, so they hit, you know, down the ground. I just don't believe that they bowled enough slower ball bumpers. Yeah, I think what the Pakistan seam bowlers, what they did, I don't think they're confident enough to bowl the slow ball bumpers, you know, and that's something that I believe that they should have done, especially on this pitch where the boundary is long enough. You know, square of the wicket, the boundaries are long enough. So yeah, so that's what I believe that the Pakistan seamers should have done. They should have bowled slower ball bumpers, which they didn't bowl enough. And in fact, they were happy enough to bowl slower balls, but hit down the ground. And it's just, you know, you got to be confident enough in all of your skills. And I just don't think they're confident enough in bowling, in being hit square of the wicket. They'd rather get hit down the ground, and it's just easy. You know, you have to swing the bat. Even slower balls go, you know, for 6 as well.
Right. From an England perspective, Owen Morgan, I mean, he played a captain's knock in the end.
Yeah, he did. You know, he batted superbly well. He knew his options, and he knew how to play with the bowlers as well. He knew what the lines they were bowling, and he worked with that. You know, he was brilliant at the full toss, you know, putting it out of the ground, and he's got such immense bat speed that even if you bowl a slower ball, which is full, he will put the pace on it by increasing his hand speed. And then he wants it fast, you know, then he can just, you know, whack that out of the ground. So how do you get him out? You know, I think they should have bowled spinners immediately. You know, the third ball that he faced from the leg spinner, LBW, he completely, you know, missed it. And why didn't Mohamed Hafiz come on the other end? You know, he turns the ball away, and, you know, he should have been bowling straight to Owen Morgan against spin.
They were relying, you know, more on Iftikhar Ahmed, whereas they've got some other options. Shoaib Malik can bowl a bit of off spin. Mohammad Hafiz is there; he can bowl as well. But you know, I'm not sure with regards to, because I was reading somewhere. I have to check that actually. I was reading somewhere that he's not allowed to be bowling in ECB because he's had in England cricket, because he's had a few you know, action calls where he's been called out because of the fact that, you know, it's been very much back and forth with his suspect action issues. So I'm not sure on that, but I was reading somewhere that he's not legally maybe allowed to bowl, but that could be factually incorrect. So I'll have to check that. But yeah, like, this is going to be really demotivating for Pakistan, because, you know, even in the tests we saw that they lost from a winning position, and now you come into the T20s, which is supposedly their strength, right? Their format where they're, you know, better off, and they've just started off on such a poor note. And they literally have, Monty, a day to turn things around for themselves. So it's going to be really tough for them now.
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be quite tough. Look, the experienced players like Mohamed Hafiz, Shoaib Malik, it just shows that Pakistan still need these experienced players in the team. until the team is strong enough to actually rely on the youngsters. So from that perspective, I still believe that both of them can play for, until the next World Cup, and Pakistan desperately, rely on them. And the other bit is if you got two left armers bowling, from over the wicket, and they both are getting hit for sixes and fours, why don't you get one to bowl around the wicket, one to bowl over the wicket? As a batsman, it makes it very difficult to line both of them up. And I think that's where Babar Azam, may think, well, in the next game, if that is the case, I may need to just change my options. Do you really need to have the left arm spinner opening the bowling? Because I think they've lined him up now. That they know that he bowls it, doesn't spin it, medium pace in swinger.
He's like a medium pacer.
Yeah, and Johnny Bairstow just plays it, gets on the offside. Tom Bantam gets on the leg side, and the same ball gets hit in different parts of the ground. So I think they've worked him out. So I don't think that plan is working very well at the moment for them. So, there's something that Babar Azam to think about. If I was Babar Azam, I will get Mohammed Amir, if he's fit, to bowl over the wicket, and get Yasin Afridi to bowl around the wicket. Yes, Shaheen. Okay, I'll get Shaheen Afridi to bowl around the wicket. That would be a good, good place to start.
Okay, Monty, thank you for your insight, as always. It was a pleasure talking to you. And yeah, let's hope that the next game is a good one as well. This one was actually, for a lot of Pakistan fans, they're quite disappointed because this was one to be won, considering they scored 200 in the first innings, but it wasn't meant to be. Kudos to England for the way they played.
Yeah, look, I was disappointed for Pakistan because I'm so excited to see Pakistan play, T20 cricket. That's their strength. And I was confident that Pakistan were going to win this one. And, but, it's just, it's disappointing to see, the young seamers are just, not up to it at the moment. But let's hope in the next game, we see a Pakistan win.
Thank you so much for your thoughts.